There we go.
Perfect time. All right. Notice requirement provided for the open public meetings law has been satisfied. Notice was properly given. Said notice having been transmitted to the Courier News on Friday, April 10th, 2020, as well as posting on the city's website. Clerk, may I have a roll call?
Yes, Council President. Council members Davis.
Present.
Councilman Good.
Present.
Councilman McKenna.
Present.
Councilman McCray.
Present.
Councilwoman Mills Ransom.
Present.
Vice President Armani.
Here.
Council President Hockaday.
Here.
Council President, we have all members present and a quorum.
Thank you. All right, Director Jackson has the floor for a brief presentation. Welcome, Director. I think you're on mute.
Good evening, Council. Thank you very much. I'm excited about the next presentation. We received an Innovation Challenge grant from New Jersey Economic Development Authority about a little over 6 months ago. And we contracted with New Jersey Innovation Institute, which is affiliated with the New Jersey NJIT. So I'm very excited about the results. Initially, I wanted them to do an assessment, a technology assessment along our industrial corridor on the west end of town. So again, that is where Injectron, Pap Ironworks, and other industrial, Mack Truck, other industrial type facilities are located. So I'm very excited for Mike Vandersloot to just give you a very brief presentation on the outcome of phase 1 and where we would like to go with phase 2. So without further ado, Mike.
Thank you, Valerie, and good evening, council members. Bear with me a second just so I can share my screen. Valerie, can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. I have you confirm for me you can see everything. Can you see my presentation?
We
Yes.
can.
All right, let me go full screen. Okay. Again, once again, good evening and thank you. My name is Mike Vandersloot. I am an executive director at the New Jersey Innovation Institute. We are a nonprofit corporation of NJIT, the R1 Research University in Newark, New Jersey. And I am here this evening to request a 6-month extension to the current contract Valerie mentioned that we have with the city of Plainfield, focused on improving the West End Industrial Corridor. And the value of that contract extension is $50,000. We mentioned it's an existing contract. So Valerie mentioned we were there doing a feasibility study for the West End Industrial Corridor focused on technology improvements, in this case, designing a 5G wireless network for the corridor. That work began in late 2019. It was completed March 28th, 2020. And it was a visioning exercise. It was focused on the industrial community in Plainfield and supporting that community through digital transformation. So let me say a word about manufacturing and digital transformation. Manufacturing in the Plainfield area is in fact the largest economic sector of that Plainfield area, not by employment, but by economic activity, generating $2 billion annually each year. There are many specialty manufacturing companies right there in Plainfield and many in North Jersey. And Plainfield has a manufacturing legacy. The West End corridor was actually at one time one contiguous Mack Truck factory that over time has been split off into several properties But certainly there's an opportunity here to build on that manufacturing legacy. But the future does not look like the past. The future is digital, like everything else in our lives. Digital infiltrating our homes through our Amazon Alexas, as I point to my bookshelf over here. The smartwatches that we wear that collect data off our person to help us improve our health and wellness through data. That same transformation is happening in manufacturing. And if we can help the industrial companies in Plainfield and around Plainfield make that jump to digital, it will create opportunities for businesses. It'll create workforce training opportunities, which ultimately are opportunities for workers in Plainfield, and then educational opportunities as well. So let me get into some specifics on what we are envisioning for the corridor. Top point number one here, our primary focus was to design this next generation 5G communications network. Our engineering team has done that. This digital future needs additional communication equipment that doesn't exist today. And this would be a unique asset for the West End corridor, which would be very attractive for current manufacturing companies, but also new. But it's not just about the technology. And this is a big lesson that as a team, we all came away with. We need to provide support services to enable that digital future. And so we're recommending to focus on or to select a property in the West End corridor to be redeveloped to become this digital manufacturing support facility. So that facility would assist in helping these companies understand these technologies. What is the return on the investment if they onboard these technologies, technical assistance in getting them onboarded. It will also be a home for a new workforce development program. Digital manufacturing, it's software, it's data, it's technology. It's not the skills that we think about manufacturing workers in the past and even today. These are new skills that need to be acquired, and that creates opportunities for current workers, but also folks that want an opportunity to work in this high growth space as well. So workforce development opportunities, and then entrepreneurship education. We will be bringing these digital technologies to the West End corridor. These are not the manufacturing companies of the past. These are your Silicon Valley type companies. And we could build on programming already at places like Union County Community College that has a nascent entrepreneurship program, but we can actually use these investments here in the corridor to improve or create an educational opportunity in the entrepreneurship space. So this next phase is really still a planning phase. That first phase was just 5 months or so, and I've really breezed over what is a lot of detail in this vision, but if there's a couple things to take away, one is that this is a very multi-dimensional, multi-stakeholder partnership. We need to engage real estate developers, the state EDA, the workforce development community, the community colleges. So that's a lot of boots on the ground partnership building. So that's a big part of the next phase, creating marketing collateral. The team needs to be able to talk about this vision. So that will be a piece, and primarily going after external funding sources to continue the planning effort. The $50,000 that we're requesting from the city is really bridge funding to keep the NJII team as an extension. I really do see our team as part of the economic development team, and we want to make sure this vision moves forward. The last thing we want is all this good work that we've done to sit on the shelf and collect dust. So this bridge funding will help us continue this next phase of planning, but then also look for additional external funds to continue the effort. So Valerie asked me to keep it brief. I hope I didn't speak too fast. We have a lot of materials we can share if you have specific questions, and I know Valerie will be available for a Q&A as well. So thank you very much. I will turn it back over to Valerie and can hang on if folks have any questions.
Thank you very much, Mike. I'm going to turn it back over to our council president. Thank you. again for allowing us to share this brief snippet with you. And certainly if council members want additional materials, I can provide those.
Okay. Thank you, Director.
Council President, is it okay if we get them if she sends them out automatically to us so that we can have what we just saw?
Sure.
Okay, I appreciate that.
All right.
Thank you, Director Jackson.
Thank you.
Okay. We'll now move to public comments. A total of 30 minutes has been allocated for public comments, limited to resolutions and ordinances being considered this evening. If you wish to be heard, please hit the hand icon to be recognized, and you will each be unmuted. Once unmuted, please give your name and address for the record. Each speaker will be given 3 minutes. The floor is now open.
Hi, Timothy. I gave you access to speak. You're self-muted. You need to unmute yourself.
Hi, it's Timothy Priano of 1405 Martine Avenue. Can you hear me?
Yes, welcome.
Thank you. I have a few things I'd like to say this evening in reference to some resolutions. First one is R189-20, that the administration is asking for AJ to stay on as the business administrator for 90 more days. We as residents of the city of Plainfield have not had a public statement why the last business administrator left. And we are not being advised on the search for the BA at this time. This is disheartening since we need to... Hello?
It seems to be an echo, but
Council President, can we request that everybody on the panel mute? I'm getting a lot of feedback, so I can't quite hear everything.
yes, please mute yourself if you're not speaking to eliminate any feedback. Go right ahead, Tim.
Yes, this is disheartening that we have to keep on seeing this happen over and over again inside the administration. It reminds me of another administration in our country that cannot keep its staff together or its cabinet. We need to make sure that we have complete management for the residents. I feel very uncomfortable having to call AJ for 2 points, one clerk and then back to the business administration. And there is a lot of work to be doing during an election period for the clerk and also trying to run the city. Second one, R190-20, in reference to bringing in the people to do the testing at the buildings. Why are we not using local businesses to enhance our supposedly new medical building that's coming? It is so important that we start to make headway if the medical building on Randolph is going to be used, that we start to use people in the local area. Secondly, on R207-20, again, we're digging outside of our area, going to East Orange to find a business when we have many medical people close to us so that we can show them and enhance what Plainfield can offer when this supposedly new medical building does get built. My last statement is about the R193-20. This is a total farce. We have all reviewed the reductions in the budget. This 2.6 is not enough. This pandemic is not going to end in a few months. We need to reduce all spending with combining departments, staff, that they can share duties. We all know that the administration will be coming back to council for the next 6 months asking for additional funds. And the $15 million from previous R165-20 will be used up. Come April next year, we'll be expecting to pay these monies back and then that we have used and increase our tax base for the future. I am very sorry that those who sit on council did not have the fortitude to control the cost of running the city. We know that a few council people had asked for major cuts, but did not even get close enough to their numbers. Have you really looked at the cuts Budgets were gutted in the worst spots. Our seniors, our residents that are in need of services, and our youth. No outlet for them this summer. Again, and I will be coming on in reference to the robocall. I don't know if it's the right time to talk about that. Council President,
Council President, the speaker's time is up.
I'll be back.
Hello, my name is Anaya Baines. I live on 1163 Dorsey Place. In reference to the budget, I'm asking for the council members to consider budget cuts in the police department, as we've all seen throughout these past few weeks. While there is the pandemic of COVID-19, there's also the pandemic of racism and police brutality in America, and I believe that defunding the police is our first step to abolition of the carceral state in America, and reallocating funds that are otherwise allocated to the police department would result in more money for things like youth programs, senior citizens, health services, things that could invest into the community in a way that does not feed into the carceral state and doesn't make people of color, Black people especially, feel unsafe. And if we invest into care instead of police, we can see that investing in community is more effective in reducing crime and making communities feel safer, whatever that means to you, instead of funding police. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, Ms. Baines.
I don't see anyone else with their hand raised to speak.
Okay, may I have a motion to close public comment?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Abstentions? Public comment is now closed. All right. Are there any questions on council resolutions identified as 18220-188-20? All right, may I have a motion to approve en masse?
Moved.
Second. All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any oppositions? Any abstentions? All right, resolutions 182-20 to 188-20 is approved. Clerk, would you please offer the resolutions?
Yes, we come to resolution 189-20, authorizing a 90-day extension for Abubakar Jallo to serve as the acting business administrator.
Okay, are there any questions from council? Beginning with Councilwoman Ashley Davis.
No questions on that resolution. Are we going resolution by resolution?
Yeah, for here, the council resolutions, I just did them all at once because they weren't written. Council people probably wouldn't have questions regarding those. Most of those were at the urging of the council members.
Right.
With these, perhaps council members might have questions, so I'll at least, look to see if anybody had any questions on them. So I guess we could simplify it a bit, and council people can shake their head if they had any questions or wish to speak. No questions?
I'm having a hard time hearing because there's feedback of some sort going on.
Yeah, I hear it as well. Maybe it's one other person that could. I'll just see if I can, just I don't hear it now. Okay, do we have a motion?
I actually had a question on it.
Oh, you did? Okay, go.
Yeah.
Go.
I'm just curious as to where we are with the search process and what the the expectation is for a permanent replacement.
Okay. Who from the administration would like to address that?
Go ahead, Mayor.
Council President? Council President, can you hear me?
Yes, I can now. Welcome, Mayor.
Thank you. The search process is well underway. It's being conducted by a private search firm, and the process is still in motion as we speak. We are looking far and wide to find the best candidate. That's all we can say at this point in time. The search continues.
Thank you. All right, seeing no further questions, do we have a motion?
Moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Abstentions? 189-20 is approved. Clerk?
Resolution R19020, authorizing the execution of an agreement with wellness coaches.
Are there any questions from council?
Yes.
All right, starting with Councilwoman Davis.
How long do we foresee using this service with this company?
At least to the end of 2020 at the very least, and we'll have to see how the testing works. We'll also have to see what takes place with the executive orders, what's mandated on a state level. As you see with this resolution, it's $40,000, of which will be reimbursed by Aetna.
Thank you.
And if we have to come before the governing body for an extension or for an additional contract, we'll have to come before the council at that time.
Thank you.
Looking for any further questions from council regarding
I have questions.
Councilman McKenna?
I'm curious about a couple things. One, how we came about this firm from East Orange, if we did an RFP. And then also just looking through the proposal, they've got an individual that comes in at 7:30 and leaves at noon, and another person that comes in at 8 and leaves at noon. After noon, after 12 o'clock, are we not going to have any other residents or contractors or any other people looking for services inside City Hall to be allowed in? It just seems a little, I'm not sure how that's going to work.
So an RFQ was not done for this. It's before the council for approval. And in terms of the after 12, it will be City Hall staff, which will be performing the testing for temperature tests for the rest of the employees. But we're really trying to encourage all the employees to come in before 12 o'clock. So there might be 1 or 2 employees who come in after 12 o'clock and they'll be tested by a staff member in the health department.
Just correct me if I'm wrong here, but we're testing anybody that comes into City Hall. So if somebody's contractor's coming in to get a permit, review something, et cetera, they're going to get the temperature test, et cetera, coming in, right?
For right now, this is for the employees.
Just the employees?
Correct.
Okay.
So, Mr. BA, so is this different from some thermometer scans that that everybody has to be checked when they come in to City Hall?
Sorry, can you repeat that?
The thermometer scans. This is everyone has to do a thermometer scan in order to come in City Hall, and this is different.
Correct. But for right now, these are the thermometer scans for the employees.
Okay.
We'll have to. I'm sure, once we evaluate whether or not and when the public will be allowed to come back into City Hall, we'll have to evaluate that at that time. But what we will have is the actual machine that you walk through that will be doing and reading the temperatures at that time. So when you come through, it won't be anybody actually physically doing it. It'll be the machine that'll read your temperatures as you walk through.
Okay. Any further questions from council?
Just a follow-up if nobody else has any questions.
Go right ahead, Councilman McKenna.
I'm not, what's the purpose of this if it's a machine that people walk through? Why do we have two people at $65 an hour there from roughly 8 to noon?
Right now, it's not a machine. Right now, it's actual people that will be taking your temperature. The solution in the end will be a machine that you walk through.
And when is that solution going to be implemented?
In about 2 months.
Okay.
I have a follow-up question.
Please go right ahead, Councilwoman.
With this machine, so are people getting scanned twice? They're going to go through the machine first and then through the metal detector? Or are we replacing the metal detector with the temperature scans? How exactly is that going to work? And do we know how much that's going to cost?
Director Russ can touch on the cost as far as getting tested for security or getting checked for security. Yes, you would still have to go through the metal detector, and yes, you would have to go through the machine to get your temperature checked as well.
And with regard to the cost, we are currently evaluating a variety of options. There's a whole team of us taking a look at this, and the prices range from a couple of $1,000s per unit to as much as $10,000 a unit. So we're looking at it very carefully before arriving at a decision about which way to move forward.
Council President, question. How soon is this going to be rolled out? What is the target date for this?
Next week, Monday. Is
Monday.
that correct?
Okay.
I'm sorry?
He said next week, Monday.
Oh, Monday. Thank you. Thank you. Mhm.
Okay. Do we have a motion?
Moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition?
No.
Okay, clerk, can I have a roll call?
Council members Davis,
Yes.
Good,
Yes.
McKenna,
No.
McCray,
Yes.
Mills Ransom,
Yes.
Vice President Armati,
Yes.
Council President Hockaday.
Yes.
6 in favor, 1 opposed, resolution passes. Council Resolution 19120, authorizing settlement of all claims in the matter of Abdullah Muhammad versus the City of Plainfield.
Okay, looking for questions from council, if any.
I just have one procedural question for Corporation Council. And that is that with the remote council meetings, we're not able to have executive sessions. This one I'm okay with, but I'm going to have a problem going further with these settlements if we don't have executive sessions to be able to talk about them. So, what do we have any kind of change from the state or anything we can do in the term with respect to executive sessions and these issues?
Yeah, Councilman, I just want to say that I would not bring an item to you to resolve if it had not been presented in executive session. This is actually one of the last ones we did discuss in a closed session.
I recall that, yeah.
I have advised all of our workers' comp counsel, anyone litigating, that we will not settle a claim if we cannot have an executive session to discuss it with the city council. So the only reason why this one is before you is because we discussed it prior to going to remote meetings. But the guidance from the state has not changed. And my position is without providing all the information to council, I would not request that you settle a matter.
Okay. So going forward, we're just on hold with these issues until such time as we can do it.
Unless there was such an emergent circumstance where a judge was not allowing us to adjourn the matter, only in that emergent circumstance would we even consider it. But absent that, I have suspended any, presentation of cases to council until we all come back into one physical place.
Okay.
Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Abstentions? 19120 is approved. Clerk, your meeting. Clerk, I'm sorry, your meeting.
Resolution 19220, authorizing appropriation for Ruderman and Roth LLC.
All right, looking for questions from council.
Yes. Is this just a normal appropriation that we would give to them, or is this asking for more money than what we already gave?
Councilwoman, this is an additional appropriation. The council in January appropriated $65,000 to the firm of Ruderman and Roth to act as our labor council. Historically, our labor services exceed $65,000, but I've always taken the position that it's better to do it incrementally and come back to council than to do a full appropriation for the year. So in keeping with that, I authorized 65,000. I firmly believe that 65 was low, and it has been as you know, it has shown to be low. We're asking for an additional 65,000 for Ruderman Roth. On an average, looking at the last 3 years, we generally spend closer to 150,000 in labor council services over the course of a year. This year is going to be no exception. With COVID, there have been a myriad of public sector labor questions, and we have been relying on Mr. Ruderman as our labor counsel to guide us through those issues. He also handles all of our collective bargaining negotiations, perk arbitrations, disciplinary matters. As you know, we're in a civil service municipality, so anyone who's charged with a major discipline is entitled to what would amount to a hearing, almost a quasi-trial. So he does quite a bit of work for us. I've been very satisfied with his services to date. So we're asking to continue with Mr. Ruderman.
Thank you.
Any further questions from council? May I have a motion?
So be it.
Second.
Okay. All those in favor? Any opposition? Abstentions? All right, 192-20 is approved. Okay. Prior to discussion on this resolution, we'll have a reading of the proposed amendments by the clerk. By law, we're required to read each of these amendments line by line into the record. To comply with this requirement, and due to the length of the line items, we have a pre-recorded, we've pre-recorded the reading amendments, which is approximately 15 minutes long. Kindly avoid discussion or interrupting during the reading. Copy of the full budget amendments have been distributed to the council and provided to the public in the meetings portal. If any member of the public would like to obtain a copy, you may go online or request from directly from the city clerk. Once the reading is complete, I'll ask for a motion and a second. After it has been properly moved and seconded, should there be any additional questions from council, or should any member have additional amendments, I'd simply request that you make those amendments all in one motion, and you will be given the time to do that. Finally, once the amendment resolution has been approved by the clerk, approved by the council, the clerk will advertise as required by law, and a public hearing and final adoption of the budget will take place on Monday, June 15th, 2020. Mr. Clerk, please proceed with the reading of the amendment resolution.
Yes, Aliko, before you play it, if I could just ask everyone to mute themselves. There can be no interruption during the reading, and it has to be silence during it. So if everybody could just mute themselves, please. And Aliko, you can go ahead.
Whereas the local municipal budget for the year 2020 was approved on the 13th day of April 2020, and whereas the public hearing on said budget has been held as advertised, and whereas the council desired to amend said budget, now therefore be it resolved by the council of the city of Plainfield, county of Union, that the following amendments to the approved budget for 2020 be made. Current fund, general revenues, miscellaneous revenues, section A, local revenues, fines and costs, licenses, other, from $115,000 to $90,000. Fees and permits, $580,000 to $480,000. Fines and costs, municipal court, $1,150,000 to $950,000. Parking meters, from $520,000 to $395,000. Interest on investments and deposits, from $445,000 to $320,000. Section A, local revenues, from $7,050,500 to $6,475,500. Comcast PEG technology grant, from 0 to 5,000. Community Services Block Grant Program, from 52,293 to 105,131. NJACCHO, strengthening local public health capacity, from 0 to $500,615.38. CSBG ND COVID-19 CARES Act, from $0 to $289,685. Total Section F, special items of general revenue anticipated with prior written consent of Director of Local Government Services, Public and Private Revenues, from $646,657.03 to $999,795.41. Summary of revenues. Miscellaneous revenues. Total Section A, local revenues, from $7,050,500 to $6,475,500. Total Section F, special items of general revenue anticipated with prior written consent of Director of Local Government Services, Public and Private Revenues, from $646,657,03 to $999,795.41. Total miscellaneous revenues, from $17,552,456.03 to $17,330,594.41. Subtotal general revenues, items 1, 2, 3, and 4, from $27,209,021.03 to $26,987,159.41. Amount to be raised by taxes for support of municipal budget. A, local tax for municipal purposes, including reserve for uncollected taxes, from $59,877,688.92 to $58,198,190.48. Total amount to be raised by taxes to support of municipal budget, $60,796,002.42 to $59,116,503.98. Total general revenues, $88,005,023.45 to $86,103,000, 663.39. General appropriations. Appropriations within caps, general government, business administrator, salary and wages, from $224,270 to $222,189. Other expenses, $29,000 from to $12,000. Office of the Mayor, salaries and wages, from $264,000 to $261,860. Other expenses, $34,000 to $24,000. City Council, other expenses, $33,700 to $23,100. City Clerk, salary and wages, from $377,554 to $371,554. Other expenses, $66,200 to $64,200. Corporation Council, salary and wages, from $280,390 to $278,370. Other expenses, from $617,300 to $590,600. Human Resources and Benefits Administration, other expenses, from $61,000 to $55,400. Finance Department, Director of Finance, other expenses, $188,000 from to $183,000. Centralized Administrative Services, other expenses, $201,500 from to $189,500. Comptroller, Audit and Control Division, salaries and wages, from $502,340 to $482,340. Other expenses, $150,500 from to $130,500. Tax collector, salary and wages, $331,430 to $327,019. Other expenses, $32,350 from to $40,850. Tax assessor, other expenses, $35,750 from to $30,750. Communications and Technology, Director of Communications and Technology, other expenses, from $106,000 to $84,500. Information Technology, other expenses, from $351,700 to $339,500. Media and Communications, other expenses, $111,500 from to $52,500. Public Works, Director of Public Works, other expenses from $7,750 to $3,650. Public Works, salary and wages from $3,005,829 to $2,925,829. Other expenses, $437,500 to $419,700. Signal systems, other expenses, $42,000 from to $40,800. Engineering, salary and wages, $132,721 to $127,721. Other expenses, $179,250 to $163,000. Senior citizens, salary and wages, $456,370 from to $427,631. Other expenses from $106,650 to $88,900. Recreation, other expenses from $172,200 to $111,000. Seasonal salaries and wages from $363,700 to $100,000. Summer pool programs, salary and wages from $90,000 to $0. Other expenses, $45,000 from to $0. Police Department, Director of Police, salaries and wages from $206,050 to $203,582. Other expenses, $12,000 from to $6,000. Police Department salary and wages from $14,510,394 to $14,314,115. Other expenses, $1,114,493 to $1,082,993. Crossing guards, salary and wages from $350,000 to $275,000. Parking Bureau, salary and wages from $208,504 to $187,698. Fire Department, Director of Fire, other expenses from $5,000 to $200. Fire Department salary and wages from $10,132,180 to $9,874,452. Other expenses, $510,550 to $441,530. Municipal Court salary and wages from $942,017 to $929,017. Other expenses, $101,309 to $86,734. Economic Development, Director of Economic Development, salary and wages from $427,760 to $421,760. Other expenses, $102,600 to $87,100. Planning, other expenses, $130,825 from to $128,825. Planning Board, other expenses, $27,300 to $26,300. Board of Adjustments, other expenses, from $18,500 to $17,200. Health and Social Services, Director of Health and Social Services, $22,500 from to $17,890. Health Division, other expenses, $148,500 to $139,318. Community Development, salary and wages, from $297,133 to $238,081. Other expenses, $68,050 to $61,175. Social Services, salary and wages, $171,642 to $139,230. Other expenses, $16,900 to $14,900. State Uniform Construction Code, construction official, other expenses, $65,500 from to $60,125. Inspection/code enforcement, salary and wages, $727,806 to $721,806. Other expenses, $19,088 from to $13,713. Community Purposes, Independence Day, from $70,000 to $20,000. Beautification Committee, from $500 to $0. Youth Guidance Council, from $15,000 to $0. Shade Tree Commission, from $30,120 to $1,470. National Night Out, from $5,000 to $2,000. Human Relations Commission, from $2,000 to $500. Environmental Commission, from $1,000 to $0. Building Demolition, from $70,000 to $35,000. Plainfield Performing Arts Center, from $41,000 to $26,000. Unclassified, city summer employment salary and wages, from $275,000 to $50,000. Total operations, item 8A within caps, from $65,750,756 to $63,661,758. Total operations, including contingent within caps, $65,760,756 to $63,671,758. detail salary and wages from $38,637,190 to $37,239,354. Other expenses, including contingent, from $27,123,566 to $26,432,404. Total general appropriations for municipal purposes within caps, $75,712,570.19 to $73,623,572.19. Operations included from caps, other operations excluded from caps, maintenance of free public library, $2,057,506 to $1,957,506. Total other expenses excluded from caps, $2,057,506 to $1,957,506. General appropriations, public and private programs offset by revenues. Comcast PEG technology grant from $0 to $5,000. Community service block grant program from $52,293 to $105,131. NJA CCHO strengthening local public health capacity, $0 to $5,615.38. CSBG and D COVID-19 CARES Act from $0 to $289,685. Total public and private programs offset by revenues, $761,657.03 to $1,114,795.41. Total operations excluded from caps, $2,859,163.03 to $3,112,301.41. Detailed other expenses, $2,859,163.03 to $3,112,301.41. Total general appropriations for municipal purposes excluded from caps, $8,207,780.03 to $8,460,918.41. Total general appropriations excluded from caps, $8,270,780.03 to $8,523,918.41. Subtotal general appropriations, items H through 1 and O, $83,983,350.22 to $82,147,490.60. Reserve for uncollected taxes, $4,021,673,023 to $3,956,172.79. Total general appropriations, $88,005,023.54 to $86,103,663.39. Summary of appropriations, total general appropriations for municipal purposes within caps, $75,712,570.19 to $73,622,572.19. Appropriations excluded from caps, other appropriations, public and private programs offset by revenues, $2,057,506 to $1,957,506. $761,657.03 to $1,114,795.41. Total appropriations excluded from caps, $2,859,163.03 to $3,112,301.41. Reserve for uncollected taxes, $4,021,673.23 to $3,956,172.79. Total general appropriations, $88,005,023.45 to $86,103,663.39. Be it further resolved that 2 certified copies of this resolution be filed forthwith in the Office of the Director of Local Government Services for her certification of the 2020 Plainfield Municipal Budget, so amended. It is hereby certified that this is a true copy of the resolution amending the budget adopted by the City Council on the 8th day of June 2020.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. All right,
Council President, can I just make one correction?
Sure.
It was read into the record, the fire department salary and wages, it said 10,000. The correct number is 10,132,180 was the from, and it's to 9,874,452.
Okay, thank you. All right, may I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All right, any questions from council?
Yes.
Councilwoman Davis?
Can we just kind of explain why there were decreases in some of the salary lines? Why on the budget amendment, it was simply other expenses, and it's not really specific about where the money is coming from. And also, if this budget is based off a tax collection rate of 96.1%, but we're already down 4 percentage points from where we were last year, are we concerned that we're going to be able to meet this budget's goals?
Director West.
First and foremost, thank you, Council President. I would tell you that we are optimistic after all the work put in by all of administration and the council. We were able to identify, $2.2 million, $54,000 worth of cuts, which are offset a little by the $353,138.38 in grants that were just read into the record. But when you look at revenues in terms of where we stand today, our revenues through May are the same as they were last year. Now, on a tax collection side, there is a difference between what we've collected today, but we are already in the throes of sending out tax notices and everything else, and people are still walking in the doors. So we are optimistic that people will be able to pay their tax bills. We've made this reduction, that results in a zero tax increase. And again, we are hopeful and optimistic that we will be able to deliver this budget, which is significantly below where we started.
Follow-up questions, Councilwoman Davis.
Councilwoman, as the salary and wages and other expenses, that's the only way that it's identified in the budget. You won't have the details of exactly where in other expenses. It's just identified as salary, wages, and other expenses.
Thank you. Can somebody just explain, like, for the public, right? We hear salary and wages from last year to this year, and we hear a decrease in them. Can you just kind of explain why? We know there's not layoffs because there was no resolution or anything, but why is there a decrease in salary and wages from last year to this year? Have we cut it out? Have we cut out some things because there's a hiring freeze, or what exactly is the reason for that decrease in the numbers?
You've certainly answered a fair amount of what caused the reductions. There's a hiring freeze. We've delayed any new hires in terms of police and fire. And so yes, by not moving forward with promotions and those hires, there is a major reduction in salary dollars.
Thank you.
Councilman McKenna.
Yes. So I have a comment is that I don't think the cuts are enough, and I don't think they're the right cuts. The majority of these things are going to try to be brought back next year, which means we're going to have a big increase in spending, which means a tax increase, unless the revenue offsets that, which I doubt is going to occur in that short period of time. I think we also have a hole here of about $135,000 plus with respect to pools, which the governor said today could open, municipal pools could open January 22nd. So unless other municipalities are going to open their pools at some point in June or early July, and we're not going to for our youth who have a severe lack of opportunities for recreational opportunities as it is in the city, and now we're going to not open the pools. So the pools were taken down to zero. That's $135,000. If we're going to open them up, there's $135 more going back into the budget that you're going to try to look for, unless you take it somewhere else. I think in addition, we need to start getting our act in gear for next year when all of these things start coming back together. And trying to come back into the budget. I think we need to seriously look at cutting headcount through attrition as people retire. I think it's obvious that our digital abilities for citizens to be able to transact business with City Hall are at about the initial stages of the internet world. We're at like stage 1 of 12. I think we need to get that in gear. I think we need to identify what efficiencies will be created by that and figure out how we chart a headcount reduction by attrition by achieving those increases in capacity through the efficiency. I think that's vital. I think for a long-term planning, we need to start looking at reducing headcount and reducing the costs of the government here. I don't think doing it on the backs of the kids in recreation and then bringing it back next year on the backs of the taxpayers is the best way to do it. I would say that, in my opinion, I am going to make a motion that the administration find another $1 million in cuts wherever they feel that they can be cut, and work it themselves within their budget how they see it operating. I've got a resolution right now that's with Corporation Council that requires the return and sale of all the administration SUVs. Feel free to count that towards the cut of $1 million. That'll cut use of the gas tanks at the Public Works Yard. That'll cut insurance on all the vehicles. That'll cut Easy Pass expenses. And we can also use that savings as cuts towards fleet vehicles that we're going to purchase, so we can transfer some of those vehicles over to inspections, health department, the police department for road service jobs that they do, and get ourselves another $1 million in cuts here that are actually meaningful, because some of these are going to come back next year. So we're kidding ourselves if we think these are permanent, sustainable cuts.
Okay, looking for any other responses from council persons?
There is a motion on the table.
Okay. Can I have a second for his motion?
Second.
Okay, clerk, can I have a roll call?
Councilmember Davis?
Yes.
I'm sorry. We broke up a little bit there. What is this motion for?
Council clerk, can you repeat the motion for the benefit of Councilman Good?
Motion was for the administration to go back and find another $1 million out of the budget to cut. Is that correct, Councilman McKenna?
That is correct.
Motion was moved by Councilman McKenna and seconded by Councilwoman Davis. Councilwoman Davis?
She said yes.
Councilwoman
Oh, yes.
Councilman Good?
No.
Councilman McKenna?
Yes, sir.
Councilman McCray?
No.
Councilman Mills Ransom?
No.
Vice President Armani?
No.
Council President Hockaday?
No.
It's 2 in favor, 5 opposed. The motion fails.
I'm looking for questions from or comments from any other council member. Okay.
I apologize, Council President. You broke up a little bit there. Can you say that again, please? There's a little interference.
You have any questions, Councilman Good?
No, I don't.
Okay. I'm just looking for any questions. All right. So we have a motion, a second. Clerk, may I have a roll call?
Motion on second.
You're muted, AJ.
Yes, it was moved in the motion to approve the budget amendments was moved and seconded. Roll call on resolution 19320. Council members Davis.
No.
Good.
Yes.
McKenna.
No.
McCray.
Yes.
Mills Ransom.
Yes.
Vice President Armani.
Yes.
Council President Hockaday.
Yes.
5 in favor, 2 opposed. The budget amendments have been adopted. And again, just to note, as the council president has indicated, these amendments have to be advertised as required by law. And there will be a public hearing at 7 p.m. On Monday, June 15th, in which case, like I said, there will be a public hearing and possible final adoption of the budget pending approval from the Division of Local Government Services.
Okay, move to 194-20, clerk.
Resolution 19420, authorizing approval for the purchase of electricity supply services.
looking for questions from council.
I just have one question. Is this a single year contract or a multi-year contract? Because that proposal that they put together had a 13 and some change, 13.6, I think it was, savings, but the annual savings was 6. Or are we just doing a 1-year contract with them and they gave a 2-year proposal? Or
You get the proposal once the auction actually takes place. So I don't know if the best deal for us will be a 1-year, 2-year, or 3-year contract. The one that we're under right this second, was a 3-year contract.
oh, okay. So you go to you're going to go to auction and then take the results and then come back to council with a contract approval agreement with them, or are we?
We don't have to. It's already in the resolution that there's a threshold based on a prior auction that took place last week, that if they come in below that auction, that's a substantial savings over what PSE&G charges today. We can only move forward if it's going to make money for us.
I've got just a smidge of experience with some of these energy auctions, but I'm wondering, did they do an analysis of that 3-year contract to say if you had done a 2-year and then gone back out to market again with another auction because the cost dropped within the industry, that you would have saved more? Did we see if a 3-year contract actually didn't save us as much as if we had played around with it a little bit?
We didn't look at it that way. The way we looked at it was year to date, we've saved in excess of $46,000 by having gone into a 3-year contract with this particular vendor.
Okay. I would just suggest that when we do this and you get the results for the 1-year, 2-year, 3-year contract, that they give you some sort of predictive trend within the market to weigh it against, just in case we take a savings now for a 3-year period, but they're anticipating that the industry could have an issue and we could get more savings if we did another auction in maybe 2 years, just as a aside, so we don't leave any money on the table.
Again, the only thing I would tell you is that we look at all of the bids that come in and we weigh whether or not it should be a single year or multiple year deal. And then you're into contract for that period of time. So it's not like we can change our minds. If we enter into a 2-year deal, that's a 24-month contract.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that if they have a trend, it's a commodity, right? So they have a trend that the cost of energy may drop in 3 years or at the end of 2. We don't necessarily want to sign a 3-year, maybe we do, maybe we don't want to sign a 3-year contract when we could go back out again in 2 years and save more money because the industry is, the cost is starting to show a decline. That's all I'm saying, is just a reference point on where they see the trends in the industry.
So noted. We will wait and see what the market bears when this goes to auction.
Thank you.
Any other questions from council? Do we have a motion?
So be it.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Abstentions? Okay, 194-20 is approved. Clerk?
9520, authorizing a 1-year renewal for ShotSpotter.
Any questions from council regarding ShotSpotter?
Yes.
Councilwoman Davis?
Director Burgess, I remember at one point we were extending the contract for ShotSpotter so then we can get it on a cycle to pay it that coincides with our budget being approved. Is that what this resolution is for? Are we finally on that cycle so that we can pay them on time?
Yes, basically we are on that cycle. The only thing is, because of our current budget state right now, we're behind because it was due on June the 1st, but it was put during our normal budget cycle.
Thank you.
Any other questions from council? All right, can we have a motion?
So moved.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposition? Abstentions? Approved. Clerk, 196-20, please.
19620 authorizing approval to enter into a renewal agreement with Packet Talk.
Okay, any questions from council? All right, do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposition, abstentions? 196-20 is approved. Clerk?
Resolution 197-20, authorizing the rejection of a bid for Brookside Place drainage improvements.
Do you have questions from council members? Do we have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Abstentions? 197-20 is approved. Clerk, 198-20.
Resolution 198-20, authorizing a contract for upgrades at the Rushmore Playground free play area.
Any questions from council? Do we have a motion?
Moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Abstentions? 198-20 is approved.
Resolution 199-20, authorizing approval to apply and accept a grant in the amount of $10,000 to the United States Tennis Association.
Any questions from council?
Yes.
Councilwoman Davis?
With our parks being closed and not really being a definite time of when they're going to open, and because it's New Jersey and we have 4 seasons and it gets cold, have we checked with this grantor about pushing the grant monies to next year if necessary because of the pandemic or because of the parks not being available in order to use this money? You're muted, Mr. Gabby.
Yes, we thought all that out and everything's been done. We looked at everything based on the pandemic, and this can go on to 2021 and thereafter.
Thank you.
Any further questions from council? Do we have a motion?
So moved. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Abstentions? 199-20 is approved. Clerk, 200-20.
220, authorizing the contract for concrete improvements at Seidler Field.
Are there any questions from council? Do we have a motion?
Moved.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Abstentions? 200-20 is approved. Clerk?
Resolution 201-20, authorizing approval to utilize the Union County Co-op New Jersey overhead door for installation of security doors and repairs.
Questions from council? All right, do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Abstentions? 201-20 is approved. Clerk, 202-20.
220, authorizing approval to submit a grant application for the East 3rd Street roadway project.
Any questions from council members?
Yes, I just have a statement.
Sure.
I'm glad to see that we are getting this grant to improve East 3rd Street because just yesterday, a resident asked me when we were going to work on East 3rd Street because in their words, it was a little raggedy.
Any other questions or comments from council? Do we have a motion?
So moved.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Abstentions? 202-20 is approved. Clerk, 203-20, please.
203-20, authorizing a transfer from the UEZ marketing account for the contract extension with New Jersey Innovation Institute.
Any questions from council?
I have one question, and related to the gentleman's presentation earlier, is with respect to the 5G concept over there. How does 5G play into that digital manufacturing environment when they would not use wireless? They would run high-speed internet into their building. So I'm just kind of curious what the 5G reference is there.
The 5G is, as I know it for now, is the fastest technology that's currently available. So yes, you can run it directly into a manufacturing building. It doesn't have to be wireless. So as far as I know. Now, in terms of the 5G technology, it enables us to do all of this new rapid software application development and all of those things. And so, for example, Injectron currently employs about 150 employees, and they currently use a very old manufacturing process. And that manufacturing process, they make plastic molds. If they had the agility of digital and the technology, then they would have been able to turn around quickly and make the plastic for mass, make the plastic for the dividers that are now going on in buildings. So it gives them greater agility to do those kinds of things. And so what we're talking about here is giving them the technological base to enable these applications and functions. That's probably the best way I can describe it. If you want more details, I can certainly get the tech guys involved back into this. But originally we were only looking at high speed access. And now we're really looking at the applications on the end of that. That's probably the best way I can describe it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other questions from council regarding 203-20? Do we have a motion?
Yes, move.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Abstentions? 203-20 is approved. Clerk, 204-20, please.
Resolution 204-20, amending Resolution 314-19 to extend a professional contract for the New Jersey Innovation Institute.
Any questions from council? Kind of a tag along from the last one. Do we have a motion?
Move.
And a second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Abstentions? 204-20 is approved. Clerk, 205-20, please.
Resolution 205-20, authorizing an extension of the time and the award of the professional service contract to Nishuing Group, LLC.
Any questions from council?
Yes.
Councilwoman Davis?
Director Jackson, can you just kind of explain why there's an extension in the contract and for the benefit of the public? Can you let us know if this is going to cost us any more money?
So we're only asking for a time extension. It will not cost us any more money. We had anticipated being completed by June 20th of this year. However, given the pandemic, it slowed us up a little bit. And so we would like a few more months extension just to complete the process. And that's also to have the public hearing, the approval by the planning board, etc. Does that answer your question, Councilwoman?
Yes, thank you.
Any follow-up questions? Okay, may I have a motion?
Sorry.
You had a Councilman, please.
Yeah. In the budget, and I can't tell if it's cut because the budget amendments were just salary and wages and other. There's $40,000 requested for a master plan. We spent $200,000 last year, which is noted in this contract that we're just extending the time on. What's the $40,000 for this year?
Okay, so probably Ron can explain it best, but you're able to take the master plan, the $200,000, and capitalize it over 5 years. And so the 40,000 just represents 1/5 of the expenses. Ron, did I get that correct?
Yes, you have a new job.
Oh, no, I don't want to do one.
Okay, any further questions from council? And if not, can I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposition? Abstentions? 205-20 is approved. Clerk?
Yes, Council President, the administration at this time would like to request that the administration withdraw from its agenda resolution 206-20.
May I have a motion to withdraw this resolution then, in that case?
So
Okay, all those in favor?
aye.
Opposition? Abstentions? Or 206-20 is withdrawn. Clerk, 207-20.
Resolution 207-20, authorizing the mayor and city clerk to execute a memorandum of understanding between Salerno Medical Services and the city, medical associates in the city of Plainfield.
Questions from council?
Yes, I have a question.
Yes, Councilwoman Davis.
This resolution says that there's no fiscal impact to the city. However, in the MPU, they're asking for police personnel and other personnel to staff and do the administrative work. So what's the financial impact of reassigning staff to do that? And do we have the capacity to reassign personnel to help with this, and has an actual location been secured for this testing?
Director West or Director Burgess address that, since it either impacts our finances or our resources in the Department of Police.
I would think the best person to speak to this is Shep Brown at this point.
Right. Okay. So currently, what? No.
Yes.
Oh, okay. So currently, what this calls for us is to provide a site, which we will probably do at parking lot 7, which is between Park and 7th, which is across from PPAC. As for the police, we're working with Director Burgess, and any costs incurred in providing the services would fall under the COVID-19 reimbursement. And so whatever we would have to put out, we are anticipating that would then be reimbursed by the COVID-19.
Further questions, Councilman?
Yes, the COVID-19 relief fund is one that the city established. Is that where we're expecting the reimbursement from?
No, it's through the Federal CARES. It's through the Federal CARES Act, and so that's where the money would come from.
Thank you.
Further questions from council? Then I'll entertain a motion.
So be it.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
No.
Clerk, did I hear a no?
Yeah.
Clerk, may I have a roll call?
Roll call, resolution 207-20, council members Davis,
Yes.
Good,
Yes.
McKenna,
No.
McCray,
Yes.
Mills Ransom,
Yes.
Vice President Armati,
Yes.
Council President Hockaday.
Yes.
6 in favor, 1 opposed, motion passes.
Thank you. All right. We'll now move to
Council President,
yes.
I have two quick questions about two other topics before we go to public comments. One is the general, what's the timeline so far with respect to FEMA or CARES Act reimbursement? What the schedule is for that, what the federal government is requiring, how long we're waiting to submit our reimbursements. Boy, the feedback on Zoom is really good. And then my other question is related to the Plainfield Humane Society. I know we had an RFP that went out, I think in January or February, that came back. I think it was due at the end of February or something like that. And I'm wondering what the status of that process is. And I don't want to say, I shouldn't say Plainfield Humane Society, I should say Animal Control Services.
So I can speak to that one. I can't speak to the first question, the timeline part. That's Director West. We did send out an RFP. We did receive it back. What we did do was send out a request for extension to the various people who applied. And we are planning on reconvening or convening the committee so that we can discuss both proposals.
Is there a timeline for that?
Yeah, we requested it until the end of August.
Now, why would we need to do an extension on that, considering if it's feasible and it makes sense based on the RFP responses that we could move the animal control services to Plainfield instead of having it in Newark during the middle of a pandemic, not having people driving to Newark and having associated coming here. I mean, isn't that actually like a benefit to move that along? Could you do that via Zoom? You have to be in person?
So you asked me a couple of things. So what I can answer is we have to go through the RFP process and the committee process, and we will certainly come up with that decision. I can't come out and say this one agency is better than the other because that would go against the process. But I agree with you. We have to make sure that things are done well and appropriate.
No, that's assumed that things should be done well and appropriate. I'm saying, why can't you go through the process now via Zoom meetings and get the committee back together and analyze the bids and the service offerings and move this thing along? Because if Plainfield does happen to be appropriate, cost, service related and everything, it behooves the citizens to move that now during the middle of a pandemic and not having people running all over, 26 miles away to get the dog.
Well, as I said, we are pulling the committee together for this month. So that.
Yeah, but you said end of August.
No, the extension for the RFP is till the end of August. So we have up until the end of August, but I want to move it and get the committee together so we can make a decision this month.
No, wait, explain what's the extension? You asked for an extension to the vendors?
Right, because of the pandemic, we're trying to figure out how to pull people together. So what you do, and that really is done through purchase and not through me. They send out letters to everybody who applied to a particular RFP, asking them for approval to make an extension to the date that we're supposed to have a decision by. Both parties agreed to this extension, and they understand that it's till August. As I just said, we're trying to get it done and try to get a committee together and make that decision this month.
Awesome. Thank you. Now FEMA, or CARES.
We haven't gotten to FEMA yet. We have applied or submitted paperwork for 3 different, I'll call it refunds and or grants associated with COVID. We are working with the county who we must go through for the CARES Act reimbursement. So for those expenses that we will not have been reimbursed through these alternative submissions, we will be going before the county with paperwork requesting refunds for money spent to date as well as going forward. So we're having conversations with the county to find out, any specific timetables and all that we need to do to make sure that every dollar we've spent related to COVID, we can get recovered before we get to FEMA. Because FEMA is 70 cents on the dollar. These others are dollar for dollar.
So just 2 quick follow-ups. Do we know what is left of the CARES Act funding? Thinking along the lines of the PPP plan through the SBA that they ran out of money. Do we have any indication that the CARES Act may run out for this particular portion of it? Or we don't know?
I do not have that indication. I am optimistic that they have money in place, for Plainfield and the other communities within Union County.
Okay. And then just one little quick one, just for my own education. If I understand it correctly, we go through the county now for these types of federal reimbursements, but should we do our census appropriately in the future, that will not necessarily be the case, would it? Meaning,
I didn't understand that question.
Meaning, because of our census numbers, we're kind of tied through the county for a lot of the federal funding, but if we were to get the appropriate population numbers in town for future issues, we would go through the state or the feds directly. Is that right?
That's an opportunity. We had that opportunity a number of years ago, and it wasn't going to be, to our benefit financially, to build up a whole staff like the county has in place to oversee these programs. We were going to end up using all of the money that we currently get awarded. Well, we were going to get awarded $500,000 less than we get today. Okay. So we made a decision a number of years ago not to go forward. That may change over the course of time.
Thank you, Director.
Thank you.
All right, a total of 60 minutes has been out.
Mr. President.
Yes,
I just want to make a couple of comments on two of the resolutions that you adopted tonight. And I want to thank you and the other and the other members of the council for supporting one, the resolution that provides testing to our employees. I shouldn't have to tell anyone the importance of making sure that our employees, when they return to the workplace, that they are healthy and that they don't be placed in a position where they can impact the health and well-being of fellow employees. And so I appreciate the fact that the council, a majority, saw it fit to support that resolution because it's critically important. It's about the health and well-being of employees at City Hall. So I want to thank you for that. I also want to thank the council for the last resolution, which allows us to provide testing for all city residents. It is important for us to recognize the fact that we are still dealing with a pandemic. We don't know how long it's going to last, and we have to take all the necessary precautions. So every health expert from the CDC all the way down, the solution is testing, treating, and tracing. And so we have to make sure that our residents all across the city have the opportunity to be tested if they so choose. So I want to thank you for recognizing how important that is and to support the resolution to make sure that we provide testing to all city residents. So thank you for that.
Council President, just real quick. First,
Councilman, you've had your opportunity. We're moving on to public comment.
Well, no, actually we have other opportunities, so I don't know where that.
Council, I just gave you an opportunity to speak.
Yeah, but I'm following up on the mayor's comments, and that's.
This is not a back and forth between you and the mayor. We don't.
No,
need
it's
that.
not. It's a back and forth between me and you.
All right. A total of 60 minutes has been allocated for all public comments to be presented. Each speaker will be allocated 5 minutes. If you wish to be heard, please hit the hand icon to be recognized and you will be unmuted. Once unmuted, please give your name and address for the record. The floor is now open.
Hi, this is Mary Bergwinkle, 1785 Sleepy Hollow Lane. Hello to everybody. I hope everybody's healthy. I'd like to comment on a robocall that I received from Councilman McCray on June 3rd. He said that he and Councilman Hockaday and Mayor Mapp, along with council and the administration, had been able to develop a zero tax budget, and that it was the first time in decades that there was a zero tax budget. My comments are, one, what is a zero tax budget and why was he announcing it a week before the vote on the budget? Two, whoever drafted the zero tax budget language should have been proofread. Three, how much did that robocall cost the citizens since it was clearly called from a city number? Four, I'm sure it was a coincidence that those two councilmen are running in the primary. The city appears to be treading very close to election laws by sending robocalls like that so close to an election. And what did the two of them do that was more than the other councilors and other members of the administration? I would like to know that. Five, at a prior meeting, I commented that having the mayor's chief of staff as director of communications seemed to be relegating all city communications to public relations for the mayor. This robocall was a prime example of that. The message was inartfully stated and prematurely, and it just seemed like a vehicle to get those names out into the public on city expense. I think this should stop. Thank you.
Thank you. You did pose many questions. I will just speak in terms of my name being in the call. And my role was just as council president and Councilman Charles McCray as the finance chair. So that, So not saying that any council person did more than another, but just that we were the leaders in the process. Okay. Any other anyone else with their hand up?
Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, my name is Deambi Daniels. I'm at 63 Andover Avenue of Plainfield, New Jersey. My comment and/or question is there any thought from the council and/or mayor about creating a resolution or a task force to investigate how Scotch Plains / Fanwood Police and Watchung Police increasingly stop the residents of Plainfield, and those monies are supporting their tax base and taken away from our tax base or hardworking citizens? I think it's unfair, and it's something that needs to be addressed immediately, especially when we're in a town where taxes are continually increased. We're taxed with PMUA, with adequate or mediocre services. So I wanted to know, has there been any discussion?
That is a very good question, and you know I've experienced that as well myself personally. But you know that's something that perhaps our corporation council can look into, and at some time in the future we do know that is an issue, and we will take that seriously. So there's nothing on the table now, but perhaps in the future as we investigate that further.
Council President, I too have heard from many Plainfielders who have a story to tell about particularly the Fanwood Police Department, and I do agree that it warrants some review and investigation, and I'd be happy to take that up and provide it. And once information is accumulated, I'd love to be able to provide that to both the mayor and to the council.
Thank you.
Welcome. Council President, quick question for Corporation Council on that. I may have this wrong. I don't know the mix of the traffic violation fee structure, but what percentage most of it goes to the state, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
That is correct. That is true. There is the large majority of most traffic fines. If it's a violation of a local ordinance, then most of that is kept by the municipality. But there obviously is some amount of money that the municipality receives that they can then use to fund their budget.
Right. And not to say anything against her comment, because I've been pulled over 3 times since I've lived in Plainfield, and twice was Fanwood. So I get it. I was just clarifying on my own part.
No, that is correct, though. The majority of the money does go to the state.
Council President, if I may, before we go to the next speaker, Corporation Council, I think the concern with that speaker and with other Plainfield residents is about the process of having Plainfield residents stopped by these out-of-town cops in the municipality of Plainfield. So if we can investigate that and see what that is, and see if we can have some sort of resolution or something that we send to these municipalities about stopping that practice, because that's a practice that a lot of residents have concerns about when they are crossing over the border, and I mean well into the city of Plainfield. They're still being stopped by these out-of-town police officers.
Well, Councilwoman, if I could address that, what an officer can do, and Director Burgess at any point stop me if I'm incorrect on this. If they witness a violation in Fanwood, for instance, say it's a Fanwood police officer, they can effectuate that motor vehicle stop in Plainfield if they've witnessed the violation in Fanwood. What they can't do, though, is witness a violation in Plainfield and then make that stop in Plainfield. So there may be some instances, because obviously we share borders, where they witness the infraction and then make the stop in Plainfield. If it's anything other than that, then that's something that I think we would have a problem with, to answer your question.
We can talk offline.
Sure. Yeah.
Corporation Council, if I may, Council President.
Yes, you may.
But it can be quite humiliating to be at least a half a mile or a mile into your municipality. And my thing is, why not stop the vehicle, if that's where the offense took place, why come all the way into town to almost where the person, is going, and then pull them over? That's kind of humiliating. And I
Right.
think it's done, and I think it's done on purpose. And I think it's disrespectful, not just to the driver, but to our police here. It's a slap. It's like a slap in the face.
I
And
certainly.
I'm pretty sure that my colleagues will agree with me.
Thank you, Councilman. Leslie, I really appreciate your comment there. Who do we have next?
No, that was actually Niambi. Leslie's next. I think.
That was Niambi? Okay. Leslie, you're next. Thank you, Niambi.
Am I unmuted? Thank
Yes.
you. Good morning. I mean, good evening to everyone. That's the kind of day I had. I want to begin my comments by saying, I'm sorry, I live at 136 Reeve Terrace. My full name is Leslie A. Anderson. As a lifelong resident of this city, I am dismayed that I even have to be at the council meeting tonight making these comments. I am speaking to the letter sent by Valerie Jackson on June 5th, 2020, to the businesses of Plainfield, which resulted in them boarding up their stores for the peaceful demonstration that took place in the city on June 6th. I am dismayed because I think the letter was unnecessary, it was antagonistic, and it sent a message from the administration that I don't believe the city should be sending not only to the business owners, but to the residents of the city. Rather than responding and working with the march organizers and figuring out ways that we can work together to protect the businesses, we reacted, and I believe a division has the potential to be created between the business owners and the residents of the city. And I would like to see the city take some action to address it, to calm fears on one side and to calm anger on another. And I want to wrap up my comments by saying the action flies in the face of who we are as the city of Plainfield. We have moved beyond this type of action. In the 60s, during the riots in the city, the administration in no way reflected the community. The police did not reflect the community. This city was built on racism and segregation, and that is no longer the case. But when I saw that letter, it took me back to a time when I was a little girl and I couldn't roam this city freely. I'm disappointed, and I think the matter needs to be addressed, not at a council meeting, but in the same public manner the letter was sent to the businesses. It should be addressed publicly to the residents and to the business owners so that we can move forward as one community committed to building a society where everyone feels comfortable. If Black Lives Matter, we need to understand as well that words matter. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that, Leslie Anderson.
Council President.
Yes, you may.
Can I address this? First of all, I would like to say that I was asked to advise the businesses about the rally. And a lot goes on behind the scenes that is not available to the public. The police get credible information about threats and those kinds of things, and I'll let the police address that. But what I want to address is that there is a lot going on in the world, the United States, New Jersey, and Plainfield. I am from Los Angeles, and I lived personally through the Watts riots. I was 10 years old, and I understand what disenfranchisement means in a community. I understand what happens. I have nieces and nephews who live in New York and Los Angeles who are at the heart of these protests across the country. I have no intent, never did, to create fear and or division in the city of Plainfield. The purpose of the memo was to advise business owners of the rally. There was no intent to incite or scare business owners. I noted in the memo that the rally was expected to be peaceful. Some people mistakenly misinterpret a couple of words, meaning civil disturbance. And disturbance means protest. I support peaceful protests. In my youth, I was often leading those protests because I know they bring about change. Some business owners overreacted by boarding up their buildings. At no time were business owners told to board up their buildings. And I hope the public also understands that these same business owners that I have communicated week after week who are experiencing financial harm associated with the pandemic also see the images in the news every day about some of the vandalism and violence that occurs in communities, not necessarily by the people protesting, but by outsiders. And I have learned from the protests and the comments that I've seen and heard about on Facebook that there needs to be more dialogue among people. And that's what's going on in the nation right now, is dialogue. I am committed. I am personally committed to bringing about dialogues with the residents of Plainfield and the business owners of Plainfield, because it is needed. That's it for my comments. Thank you, Council President.
Council President, may I say something?
Yes, Director.
Yes, I just wanted to say that I had reached out to Ms. Jackson in regards to sending out some notification based on several things. One, starting with what has been going on, as we can all see across the country, and businesses being targeted. And then as well as, as well as several citizens who have reported to us and delivery drivers who reported information that they had received in regards to some sort of vandalism directed towards the downtown area. So this was one of the reasons why I reached out, as well as notifying the businesses of the protest. I was actually very happy to see that some businesses took some precautions because of the information that we were receiving, not anything to do with the protest. It was separate from that. But based on that information, we put high visibility in the downtown area on each time that we were notified that there would possibly be a problem. And that was in 3 different days in a row, including Saturday morning at 8 a.m. So again, I will say, for a public safety standpoint, and from that aspect, I think that that was, whichever means that a business chose to take was their personal choice. But I would rather have seen that some sort of precautions were taken based on the information we were given, and had we not done something and those businesses been damaged. So I will stand by reaching out to Ms. Jackson, and I will take responsibility for that away from Ms. Jackson, because that is something that I felt as a public safety issue that we should have at least let the businesses know.
Council President, I have a question for Director Burgess.
Sure.
Your comment was that you had some intel from delivery drivers, but about vandalism for the downtown, but it had nothing to do with the peace rally necessarily. So in essence, what you're saying is they should board their stores up anyway? I mean,
no, absolutely not. I never.
The whole approach to this was a little bit. I mean, I get the position everybody's in, that we all need to provide protection and service and comfort to the residents and the business owners. But I think there was a little bit of an inartfulness to the way the letter went out, the way it was written, that allowed them to have the misunderstanding and be fearful of our population, which we aren't and shouldn't.
So I don't believe that, well, the information that we spoke about initially was not anything to do with anyone boarding up their business. The delivery driver was one piece of information that we received. We received 2 or 3 more in the days to come in regards, and this is after the letter was issued. Again, it had nothing to do with the protest that was going on. That was separate and apart. But in each incident of information that received on some sort of vandalism to the downtown area, I don't know where. Now, I also received additional information from the business owners that they received information of some sort of vandalism going on, and I don't know where they got that information from. But we did, by putting police presence out there during those times that this was supposed to occur. They said there was going to be a protest on Watchung in Front at 8 a.m. on Saturday morning. That's what I got from the business owners. Where they received that from, I do not know. So somewhere between Ms. Jackson and I speaking, as well as all these other information that was coming from, I can't say where I can't tell you where the business owners got it from. Maybe someone in the business community can, but I received several calls from them as well as from other sources that said that at 8 p.m. on Thursday night, there was supposed to be something that was going to take place downtown. I received information in regards to Thursday afternoon in the daytime, and then on Saturday morning. And we tried to put as much visibility in those areas to alleviate that from happening.
I think we could have done a little bit better, and I think we need to be a little more analytical with our intel and what is good intel versus bad intel versus rumors. Because once that letter came out, I heard things too, and it was the letter. It kind of became, social media wild at that point. But I appreciate your answer. Thank you.
Thank you, Director.
Council President?
Councilman Good. Councilman Good.
Yes. Thank you, Director Burgess and Director Jackson, for your comments on this. I know personally I received a couple of calls where people thought that it was pretty extreme. But when you tell someone to secure their business, the word secure means that they have options. And from what I'm hearing, no one was told to round up some wood and some screws or nails and cover your windows and your doors. So when you say secure, that's up to you to do what you want to do. Now, I personally, because that's what I wanted to do, I asked a couple of our business owners as early as today, because the call I got was first thing this morning. And I was told by this business owner, I did it because so-and-so did it. So what we have here probably is a domino effect. People are going to do what they want to do. It's their business. And granted, it was not an attractive look at all to drive down and see all of this wood, like the plywood, like the buildings were vacant. It was not an attractive look, but for the safety of their business, if they chose to do that, then, who can fault them for that? I would like to also say and ask as a request that in the future, would you be so kind, Director Burgess and Director Jackson, to, when something like that goes out, if the council can have copies of it as well. This way, we can put our input in before we can get to a meeting like this, and we have to take up time to discuss something that could have probably been discussed offline. I thank you both for doing a great job, and I think what happened here is people took things into their own hands and decided to use the wood and board it up themselves. So that being said, thank you so much for your comments, and that's all I have to say, Council President.
Thank you, Councilman. It looked like Councilwoman Davis had a question or a comment.
While I appreciate, Director Burgess and Director Jackson speaking on this, what I am disappointed is that we're sounding like we're doubling down on our position, right? Residents in the city were insulted about the municipality being boarded up looking like we were preparing for a hurricane. That is the residents' perception of it. I've heard calls from older residents saying that it reminded them of the 60s before the riots. I think we cannot discount their feelings, right? But we also cannot discount the intel. But we also know that none of the protests were anywhere near the downtown area. And more importantly, we're always touting how we're going through a renaissance. We don't know who could have been riding through our town, and to ride through our downtown district and to see it boarded up, it's taking away from all the work that this administration has done to say that Plainfield is open for business. And it's disappointing because now you have residents calling for boycotts of these businesses. We already discussed the economic impact of this pandemic and how some of our businesses are already going to be eliminated because they cannot sustain through the pandemic. Then to have residents and community members feeling disrespected to the point that they're going to boycott businesses, so potentially we can lose more businesses. We are taking away from the work that has already been done by this administration to open back up for business. So it feels like there's a little bit of doubling down, and it's okay to just say, you know what, I was wrong. My choice of, or if you don't want to say I was wrong, my choice of words was wrong. Hey, our intel was wrong. But it really sounds like we're okay with the position because I'd rather people board up their businesses and take precautions. And I don't really think that's the message that we want from residents.
Yeah, and Councilwoman Davis, I agree with you. I do not like the look of buildings being boarded up. I do not support that. I want to be clear about that. And at the same time, I do want to be clear that advising business owners of a rally is not a problem. And maybe there was a choice of words, and you and I have personally have had this conversation, the choice of words. But clearly, I do not support the boarding up of businesses unnecessarily. I do not like the look. I'm selling the town as well in terms of the message. So I want to be clear about that. But I also want to be clear that at no time did we instruct them to go board up their buildings. Just secure your property as you normally do at the close of business. That was the message. And so people took that in different ways. And that is unfortunate. And we do all have an experience with, disenfranchisement. I mean, each one of us probably could tell our story about disenfranchisement and what it means. So I just want to be clear that I don't support boarding up of businesses. I did try to reach out to a couple because I'm concerned about why did you feel that it was necessary to board your business up? And so that we can have that dialogue. But I also think that residents also have to be engaged in the conversations with businesses as well in terms of what they would like to see more of. And that's part of the dialogue. So I agree with you. I'm not doubling down on the position, but sitting out an advisory notice is appropriate. What isn't, I'm bothered by boarded up buildings. The mayor is bothered when he sees boarded up buildings. And quite frankly, some of the boarded up buildings are empty buildings. They're not doing business right now. And they boarded up their buildings. So again, I think we're on the same page on that piece.
All right. So
President.
Yes. So just before you go, Mayor, we gave, some extended discussion to this because it is an important issue for all. So I'm going to allow the mayor to speak regarding this as well. But before then, is there any other council person that hasn't yet spoke want to chime in on this? Because after the mayor speaks, we're going to move on to the remainder of public comment because there still are individuals from the public who wish to be heard. Any other council people who haven't yet spoke on this? Okay, Mayor, you have the floor.
Mr. President and members of the governing body, I too was disturbed by the sight of the boards. It is not the message that we want to communicate internally or externally to the business partners that we are looking to attract. Having said that, let me also say this. The buck stops with me, and anything that is done by my administration, I take full responsibility. At the end of the day, I'm accountable to the people of Plainfield. And internally, we would have the necessary conversation in looking at this issue. And I can assure you that we will deal with it in the way that it should be dealt with. But I too was disturbed by the sight of the boards. But at the end of the day, the buck stops with me, and I take full and total responsibility. Thank you.
Thank you. Any clerk who was next in public comment?
Resident Alan Goldstein. Mr. Goldstein, you're unmuted.
Okay, thank you very much. Good evening, everybody. Alan Goldstein, 939 Madison Avenue. You know, if this was so important to the city council, this issue with the boarding up, then you should have had it on as a discussion item, rather than letting the city council and the mayor and Ms. Jackson go on and on and on. I appreciate getting a response from public officials because that's something that's very rare around these parts. Now, earlier, I was thinking about speaking about the budget relative to the PMUA payment, but I realized that the corruption in this town is so old, so deep, and the lack of oversight, transparency, and accountability engaged in by the city council as far as looking at the administration is nil or next to nil or close to the Republicans in Congress looking at the Trump administration. So I decided not to speak about the PMUA because I ask questions, I don't get answers. I get no responses, nothing. There's something going on there, and it's plain as day what it is. Now, what I wanted to speak about at this point is that robocall from my councilman, Charles McCray. And I was very surprised to hear his voice because usually when there's a call from the city, you know, it's either the mayor or the administration or somebody working for the administration, not a city council person. But I think in this sense, you violated several items in the city charter and in the ordinances. One is the separation of powers. City council doesn't work or make pronouncements for the administration and get to use city property. There's a fair and equal treatment. I don't think that any old councilman who wants to pronounce whatever about whatever can utilize the robocall. So someone is determining what's kosher and what's not kosher, and that's certainly not the city council. And the second is that this is basically a gift and a favor that's being given by the administration to two people who are running for office, you know, within the month. And I didn't get one phone call, I got two phone calls. And when you consider that these two people are probably bought and owned by the mayor, he's got his daughter in there as the treasurer of their joint candidates committee. So this was a pretty good buy at city expense. And I don't think that's right. And I think that all these good plans that you've talked about today for the West End, technology and all this is great in theory, but until you clean house, you're gonna get nowhere. You might get a building here or a building there, but a long distance plan is gonna be worthless because you've got problems deeply embedded in this city, and it goes on and on and on. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hello?
Yes. Your name and
Okay.
address for the record, please.
Good evening. Janice Fleming, 521 Woodland Avenue. So are we to understand that the taxes will not be affected because services, which are normally active, will not be active this year? Now, this could be COVID-19 related, right? But these same services will be included in the budget next year, and as a result, could result in increased taxes. Are we to understand that majority of the board did not feel the need for the budget to be further reviewed for permanent sustainable cuts? That's it.
Thank you.
Timothy Priano, 1405 Martine Avenue. So much has been said, very little more to say, but I will say that Ashley Davis, Sean McKenna have asked questions that the residents want to hear. The five, the others, all you do is say no or yes. You're supposed to represent the entire city, not just the administration. You all have to change the way you think. Good government is not run by a dictatorship. We, the residents, need to have fair words and hearings about everything that's being spent. This is a sideshow, these council meetings. Just remember, good government, trust with elected officials. All of you really should think about resigning. Thank you.
And thank you as well.
Spoke already.
All right, Sam, you're now audible.
I'm here.
Okay. Name and address for the record.
Yes, hi, good evening. This is Sam Sakitha Cooper, 90 Brokaw Boulevard, Plainfield, New Jersey. I simply want to say that I am appreciative that we were able to have a successful and, in my eyes, an uneventful, in a negative way, protest this past weekend. It was nice to see so many people come out, the support, the love, those who want to have these injustices eradicated. I am just a little disappointed in some of the administration. I'm not going to point fingers, but I simply want to say that some of you need to consider that when you are in a public forum and you have so many different views in front of you, that instead of taking that moment to talk about crime being down, to talk about certain things that are going on within the city, that you reconsider that conversation. There are people that are hurting right now. There are people that truly want to hear from our leadership team that you stand with them and beside them, and that you will not tolerate any further injustice, and that you will prosecute and assist those to prosecute to the fullest extent that the law will carry them. That's what some of the citizens needed to hear. And I believe that that opportunity was missed by some. In the same vein of things being missed, I am hoping that this unfortunate miscommunication between the directors and the council people regarding the letter that went out to the businesses will be used as a um, a lesson to be learned that communication within your departments is lacking. And as one of the councilmen said, they would have preferred to have had the conversation with you regarding any communication that was going to go out so that they too could assist the business owners with the decisions that they made. Over the last 3 or 4 years, my whole tone when coming to the council has been the communication is very poor. And this is one of those examples, and it didn't have to be. The website is still not updated. And I would ask that as City Hall specifically gets ready to reopen next week on staggered hours, that there would be a really good step forward in trying to get on the same page of disseminating the information on how that rollout will be. And I'm hoping that it will be a smooth transition and that everybody will be able to be welcomed back, practice the safe distancing, and move forward. The only other thing that I would like to ask or at least mention is that mobile testing site or vehicle that was so proudly mentioned a month ago. I haven't heard anything about it. I haven't heard any numbers being mentioned. I haven't heard the success rate. I haven't heard anyone say that because of it, my life was saved. And I'm not saying that I need to hear that extreme, but I know that people are still asking because they text me or they call me or they hit me on my Facebook and ask me about it. And unfortunately, I don't have any information to share. So I would hope that whomever's on this call that this relates to, if you could even send me an email or you can post to the city's webpage what is going on with that, what numbers are, being shared, across the platform of how many, tested positive, how many are in quarantine, just like you do with the letter that comes out, usually 6 or 7 o'clock at night. And lastly, I just don't understand why when that letter comes out on the weekend, for the past 2 weekends and maybe 2 weekends and a half, it didn't have the Spanish portion and said that it wasn't available. So I'm just wondering why that's happening, which is also communication again. So I appreciate you all. I wish you all safety and I hope to see you soon. But I would really like for us to work on the communications when it comes to those robocalls and the website and those awful billboards that are out that don't even have a large enough website address at the bottom for you to be even able to read it or grab it really quickly when you drive by. So that's all, and thank you for your time.
Jeanette, you're unmuted.
Thank you, Sam. Jeanette?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can now, yes.
Okay, great. Good evening, everyone. Glad to see everyone as well. I just have a quick question.
Just an address for the record, please.
Oh, I'm sorry. Jeanette Crishone, 1410 Evergreen Avenue in Plainfield. I would just like to know from the council members who voted to not review the budget, I'm curious as to why you wouldn't take an extra week to at least look at the budget and see if you could save the taxpayers more money, especially considering this time people are out of work and can use all the financial breaks they can get. Thank you.
Okay, well, I'm unmuted. I did review the budget several times and worked along with the entire council in terms of the input that we got and so forth, and working with the finance committee, and that's how we arrived at the savings that we got. So we certainly reviewed the budget several times and had several hearings. I'm sure every council member would say that they reviewed the budget. Okay, may I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
You need to close public comments.
Okay. then motion to close.
Close public comment for a second.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition, abstentions? Public comment is now closed. May I have a motion to adjourn?
Moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition, abstentions? This meeting is adjourned. Thank you.